Joe Casey brings us a new Image #1 with Bounce.
And can money buy you superpowers? We find out in the new DC book, Green Team.
And we read our first ever issue of Lobster Johnson.
Okay, so Joe Casey wrote Sex, and we liked that, didn't we?
I loved it.
I liked it as well. And now he's got this new thing, Bounce, which I think is sort of in the same universe, isn't it? They're sort of set in the same...
I don't think so. I mean, this is superheroes.
Similar sort of style. Well,
similar style.
So Sex, the whole part of Sex was he was an ex-superhero.
That is true.
Anyway, he's got a book called Bounce. It's kind of this weird take on a superhero. It's kind of unusual. Nothing like you've seen before. Odd superpower. He literally bounces. That's his superpower. Yeah. But also, we find out later at the end there's a little bit of a twist. So what did you think of Bounce?
I mean, this is... you say this is something that we haven't seen before. It's kind of the classic superheroes are appearing, and how do the government deal with it, and how do they deal with it? Like, you know, it's very Heroes. Had a very similar premise in the first series.
Yeah, but there's a sort of psychological...
Yeah, there's more of a character base rather than what the government's up to. It's more about what the people...
Yeah, but there's a weird drugs thing in there.
Yeah.
Which is something to do with it.
Yeah. I found the first half of this book okay. Didn't think it was anything great. I really like the art style. It's nothing too flashy. It's nothing too simple. It's kind of sits in that nice... It's good artwork, and yeah, I found the story to be okay, the characters to be okay. You know, it all just kind of felt okay for about halfway through the book, and then we got to the second half where it all gets a bit kind of trippy, and I loved it. Like, I loved it when we go into this kind of trippy world. The art style really picks up. The colouring is beautiful on it. And by the way, I really like his suit. Like his nice black design, and yellow suit. It's a really good design.
I like how it's got no face on it and it still works.
Yeah. And yeah, I think they did... I thought this really cheesy superpower they used very well. And yeah, I think it was just a very enjoyable book. Joe Casey did a great job on Sex, and I think he's going to do a great job on Bounce as it goes forward.
He's a really good writer. Yeah, you say this is sort of a story of two halves here. For me, it was a story of kind of three parts. When we're introduced to this character, like, there's this sort of opening thing, and Joe Casey writes dialogue really well. I knew these characters straight away. The dialogue felt really natural and really nice to me. I liked it quite a bit. The middle bit happens, and I didn't like it. It kind of zaps.
Yeah, it's almost they go to the government side of things,
yeah,
don't they?
We start seeing shadowy men in corners and pulling strings and that, and it just sort of sucks the life out of this, what is really a fun exchange we have. We have like a superhero meeting villain, which is very different and interesting. And then this just middle bit that really just sucks the life out of the comic. And then the last bit was just sort of like, what? It was just, I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
I read it again, the last bit, and I was like, so what is where do the drugs fit in? Like, where does that go? With lesser writers, I think, and writers that I hadn't read before, I might have come away from this comic thinking, he's sort of losing, this feels like a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
With this, it feels like, no, I kind of trust him. It felt like a confident writer. It felt like he knew where this was going, and any questions that I had would be answers. And yeah, it is stylish. It is very cool, and I'll be picking up the trade.
Cool. Right. Well, the next book we're going to talk about is the I suppose the companion book to the Green Team. No, to the Movement, and that's the Green Team. Whereas the Movement was about these kind of superheroes who have nothing, and yet they're trying to take back their they're the blue-collared superheroes. These are the white-collar, not even white-collared. These are the super rich, but they want to use their money for good. They're this kind of team that uses like Twitter and stuff to promote themselves. They're kind of, this first issue's the introduction to all those characters, and a kind of, you see where the book's going to go forward from here. So you enjoyed the Movement.
I did enjoy the Movement very much.
Did you enjoy Green Team?
Well, let me start by saying it's a great premise. Like, I came into this and I read the first sort of page and I was like, okay, I can really get on board with this. Like, I mean, something about just snotty rich kids and their parents' money. I like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know, there's just something about the premise that was really just nice, and and I'll also say this: it's got a lot of potential. Like, I read it and I was like,
I know where this is going.
I was like, there's a lot there. There's a lot to work with. This book does draw the line between being really good at times and things happen that you're not expecting. Like, it kicks my ass quite a bit. Like, I'm thinking that's going to happen, and whoa, that happens, and and that's really cool. There's a lot of cool stuff. Also, at times it comes off quite cheesy. All this social networking stuff, sometimes it can be done well if it's done in a semi-ironic way, like we have in Young Avengers.
Yeah. Yambler.
This social networky Twitter stuff takes itself a bit seriously, and it just feels
green team.
It just feels a bit awkward, and it's just something I hope will either fizzle out or get better, because there's so much of this book that I liked.
Yeah.
I didn't love the way it looked, but it wasn't an offensive art style by any means, and I felt right away that I knew a lot of the character types.
Yeah.
I knew where they fit. I knew who they were. I liked their reactions. I knew their insecurities. It did a lot for those characters in that first issue. But the actual finishing the book and putting it down, there's just this sense of nearly.
Yeah.
Nearly.
Close.
But I did, it's a great premise, and I am genuinely excited to see where it goes.
So are you going to be reading Movement and Green Team moving forward? Are you going to keep up with both stories? See,
It looks like they're going to tie in as well. They sort of mention Movement.
Yeah, well, I mean, they that was the whole point of them. It is the kind of the rich kids and the poor kids, and they will eventually blend in.
Well, actually, that's not actually the case. The Movement, Gelson was planning on writing anyway, and Green Team came later.
Oh, okay. That's the way it was always kind of like.
That's how DC marketed it, but that's not how it organically happened.
I mean, I personally, because I didn't like the Movement, I preferred it to the Movement, but not by much. So I still didn't really have that much fun with it. I found it a very standard book.
No.
Like
there's a lot of different in there. There's a lot of things we get soups up, super time, and then whoop.
Is that different? Because surely that's just an Iron Man joke.
I wasn't well in the latest Iron Man, but like.
Oh yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we've seen that before, but I wasn't expecting it. It didn't set it up like it was.
But it wasn't a Spider-Man moment where I read my book and I go, ha ha, that was funny. It was just a kind of. Apologies. It was just a kind. I know I'm shocking. That's the second time. It just was. It was like, okay, well that was funny. Didn't genuinely make me laugh out loud, and even the stuff at the start just kind of felt the character introductions. I did not like the bit where he's talking about how did you post this on Twitter, like, you idiot. I was like, oh no, it just felt really contrived to me, and it is
a bit cheesy at times, but I thought there was a lot to like about this book. I'd say this, if you think by the premise that you're gonna like that book, then I think check it out. Like, I mean, I could have probably told you beforehand that it wasn't really your thing anyway. It wasn't your cup of tea anyway.
And I personally am not a huge fan of the teen superheroes.
I love an angsty teen.
I know you love an angsty teen. You love Young Avengers, and if I was to go, oh, which books are I'm gonna like this week, I'd have gone, you probably like Green Team and the Movement. Like, and to me, I'm just like, grow up, don't be a dick. What's with all your problems?
Says the guy with pink hair.
Anyway, so the next book we have,
Lobster Johnson. It is a Mike Mignola book, not drawn by Mike Mignola, but in that sort of Dark Horse Hellboy style.
Yeah.
It is set in the Hellboy world.
Yeah.
About a character called Lobster Johnson, who I'd never heard about. We were sort of figuring out what we were going to read this week, and I thought it looked interesting. It's a one-shot. It's out of continuity. What you see is what you get. How did you find it?
Now, is it out of continuity?
Yes.
Because it didn't feel like it was out of continuity. It felt like it very much was a part of a longer story. Only in the sense of, like, I'm pretty sure it said at the start, it was like, this is a one-shot in the Lobster Johnson series.
Yeah. There's been other Lobster Johnson stories.
The last one-shot was probably like a carry on. Like, I don't know. I haven't read it, so I couldn't tell.
Self-contained. The problem presents itself and it's solved in the same issue.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of backing to the story that I'm like, I want to know more about it.
That's good.
Which is good.
It's all right.
That's a good thing. It's very short, this.
Very short.
Especially for a one-shot, it was very short. I enjoyed it well enough. I really like that kind of pulpy style that we've seen with the Black Beetle recently, and Francis Francavilla's books as of late, and that whole Dark Horse comics have really been getting into that. And it's a style that I really enjoy. That kind of pulp detective superhero-y noir thing. So yeah, I enjoyed this book well enough. Again, I did feel that it was kind of empty. I was like, I feel as though I should know more about this character.
I feel like if you're a Lobster Johnson fan, and they must exist. You're like this, Lobster Johnson! Yeah! Kicking ass, shooting people in the face.
That was a lobster joke.
His little claw that he leaves on them.
I love that. I mean, I know people who, like Dav, who was on the show a few weeks back. I'm almost positive he's probably a Lobster Johnson fan.
BRPD, Hellboy, all that stuff.
It's one of those type of pulp noir books which people really do get behind, and yeah, I enjoyed it well enough. I'm intrigued to go and read some more Lobster Johnson.
Okay, that's good. That's all we can hope for.
So it did.
That's the best that we can hope for, I think.
Well done, One Shot. You did your job.
I agree. I thought it was fun. I like the way it sort of starts backwards, and we kind of feel it's not a standardly told story by any means, and it's a short story. It's interesting. I like the look of it.
What more is
I want to read more Lobster Johnson as well.
Yeah.
Put more on our shelves. So good. That is all from us this week. What are we doing on Wednesday?
Well, first off,
hello.
You can follow us on Twitter.
You can.
At Comic Book Show 1. We are over there. And then on Wednesday, we're taking a bit of a break from the verses.
Yeah.
Do we announce now?
Yeah, Cyclops.
Yeah, destroyed it. Was not expecting that, to be honest. But hey, there you go.
I was.
I'm not, by the way, I say that with such a bitter tone. I'm not bitter at all. And this is a little bit. So we're taking a bit of a break from verses for the next week or so, and we are going to be reading some essential Superman books.
Oh my God!
Preparation for Man of Steel. So tune in on Wednesday for that.
Yeah, and on Friday we are joined again by the lovely Mr. Daniel McDermott, and we are going to talk about the worst superhero movies of all time.
We will see you then.
Lobster Johnson! Yeah! Kicking ass, shooting people in the face.